You are listening to Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness with your hosts, Angie Roberts and Kimberly Murphy. Please be advised that some of the topics of this podcast can be triggering and sensitive in nature.
Hey, Spoonies and mental health warriors. Welcome back to Unified. This is Kimberly Murphy here with Angie Roberts.
Hey, y'all.
And today we're talking about grounding. Angie, why don't you let us know a little bit about what grounding is?
Okay, so the definition of grounding is a good place to start. So it is a practice that can help you pull away from flashbacks, unwanted memories, and negative or challenging emotions. So these are techniques. So these techniques may help distract you from what you're experiencing and refocus on what's happening in the present moment. You can use grounding techniques to help create space from distressing feelings in nearly any situation, but they're especially helpful when you're dealing with anxiety, PTSD, disassociation, self-harm urges, traumatic memories, or substance abuse disorder.
So I'm sure you can go more into depth about why we need grounding.
I sure can. We need grounding when we start to think about something stressful. Our amygdala, a section of the brain located in the temporal lobe, goes into action. The amygdala, simply put, is part of our brain that is responsible for our emotional responses, especially fear. It is great for preparing for emergency events, but sometimes it kicks into action and detects a threat where there really isn't any.
So that's like a panic attack or PTSD kind of stuff?
Yeah. Anything having to do with anxiety and PTSD has to do with anxiety, any kind of like fears. So,
anything that really is triggering, it can be triggering situation, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. So we have a negative thought about a situation. Remember, a thought doesn't necessarily mean it's real. We always want to remember that. We have so many negative thoughts a day. It's really hard for us to.
I know. I always love that saying, not everything you think is true, because it's very basic to the point, and it reminds you that just because a thought enters your head, it doesn't mean that you're weak or that you're fearful or that you're whatever. It's your response to that kind of like thought that you have in your head.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And the amygdala says emergency, emergency, and initiates changes in our bodies, such as increased muscle tension, rapid heartbeat, and faster breathing. The amygdala then interprets these body changes as further evidence that something is actually wrong, which of course further activates it and creates a vicious cycle where you become more and more anxious. I always think that it's interesting to learn the science behind the reason we have something, because then you can look at it and you can, when you're having it, you can actually say, okay, so this is a cycle and I know that I'm going to get more anxious if I don't calm down, and it's negative thoughts, it's fear. You can kind of talk your way through it if you understand it.
Right. You can talk your way into a worse situation or a better one.
Yes, definitely.
So I know that there's 3 types of grounding techniques. Can you explain those a little bit too?
Sure. There are physical, mental, and soothing techniques. So first up, we're going to talk about physical ones. The grounding chair. So you sit in a chair and you're aware of the chair and your breathing. Imagine your anxiety as a color and it coming from your head to your feet and out into the ground. And you just keep breathing and keep imagining until you're calmed down to where you're more grounded.
Because it keeps you like centered on the present moment.
Right.
And
definitely.
Not whatever is going on in your head.
It puts you back to mindfulness.
That's kind of like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method.
Yeah.
Where you work backwards from 5. So you use your senses to list things you notice around you. Like you might start listing 5 things you hear and then 4 things you see, then 3 things you can touch from where you're sitting, or 2 things you can smell and 1 thing you can taste. And it doesn't have to be in this specific order, because I know when you're anxious, it's hard to remember all of that, but just to be like, start to use all of your senses to be aware of your surroundings.
Yes, and I've used this method. It actually does work well.
I've used it too. Yeah.
You can put your hands in water or hold a piece of ice, like focus on the if you put your hands in the water, focus on the water's temperature and how it feels on your fingertips and palms and the back of your hands. Does it feel the same on each part of your hand? Just close your eyes and just feel the water, and just notice every little thing about it. And use warm water first, then go to cold. And then next try the cold water first and then go to warm. Does it feel different? Just switch from cold to warm versus warm to cold. If you want to use the ice method, you hold a piece of ice in your hand and you focus on the ice, and it actually works to put your body into kind of a shock because it's so cold.
Right.
That it will automatically almost stop those thoughts because it's so cold. But you still hold it in your hand, feel it melting, feel it running down your hand. How does that feel? How does the temperature change? Just
Right.
all the questions. Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that one actually. So
I have a friend that has PTSD from the war, and she actually uses this method for her PTSD. Yeah, it works really well. So another way is to get your adrenaline fueled energy out. Get it out. Run on the treadmill or elliptical if you have one at home. This is the stuff you don't want to hear. Run up and down the stairs.
Right.
Just saying. Take a brisk walk around the kitchen or run outside. Cleaning up your kitchen, house, or backyard channels the extra energy also. Dance around the house while listening to loud music. I do that a lot. Like I'll put on a few different songs that are real happy songs and kind of dance to them or whatever.
When I get into a real anxious state, I like to actually clean the house because I don't know if it's because my mom used to do that because she's a very anxious person and she's constantly cleaning. And I also like to do exercise because as awful as that sounds to some people, it really does work. It really brings that adrenaline down.
It really does.
And it brings up those feel goods. Yeah. And it builds up the feel goods, the endorphins.
Right. It does. Yeah.
But you're right. It has to break down that energy. It has to use the adrenaline. The adrenaline has to go somewhere.
Right. And if you're just sitting and rocking like I do, I'm not just saying, it's not going anywhere. So,
right.
It's just sitting with you and resonating with you and getting worse usually.
So there's also mental techniques like the one where you draw the foot in your mind. So you put your feet on the ground and pick a color in your imagination, and you're going to like pretend in your mind to draw an outline around each of your feet. So mentally just imagine starting at your heel and using your imaginary pencil to slowly go up the side of your foot to your pinky toe, and then draw around each toe and then go back towards the heel. And again, this is just something that's going to like keep you focused on something other than what's making your anxiety go up and up and up.
Right. That sounds like a good one. I was doing that when you were, I was closing my eyes doing that when you, I was like, well, that sounds like a good one.
Right.
Let your thoughts come and go. And this can be kind of hard. And one of them that you kind of sometimes have to practice. Whenever you try not to do something, it is guaranteed to make you do it more. So instead, observe your thoughts like you are outside looking in. Just watch your thoughts for a minute. Imagine leaves floating on the surface of a stream. For each thought that comes to mind, allow that thought to take its place on a leaf and watch it blow away in the wind. or allow the thought to turn into a fish and watch it float away down the street or whatever you may like. I would like to watch it like maybe I like to imagine the beach. So I'd probably think about the waves coming in and
Taking it
washing out,
away.
taking it
Yeah,
away. Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yeah. And I think it's very soothing. It's very much like a meditation.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's why I said it does take practice because you're going to find yourself, your mind wandering away, but you just bring it back every time, and you'll eventually, it'll be where you don't get distracted.
Right, right. I know a lot of people say too, or a lot of experts say to make yourself laugh, but I mean, that's kind of a tough one when you're going through something traumatic. So, I mean, how do you do that, Angie?
Well, you may watch some of your favorite like animal videos or um, comedians, TV shows that you enjoy, or anything else that makes you laugh. You
Mm-hmm.
can also watch something scary, and it has the same effect that the endorphins in your brain shoot up.
Oh,
So,
wow.
of course, laughing makes you happy. Um, uh,
But being scared can do the same thing.
being scared, yeah, because it's a shock to the system.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that on a previous podcast. Um, I think though, like this is the last one most people think about doing when they're upset. Like,
Right.
but it does work. I've been in bad situations before, and my friends will start sending me funny animal clips, and those usually work for me. I'll start
Right.
laughing. Sometimes it's just great to have that distraction instead of someone saying, "Are you okay?" And making you talk it out. Sometimes you don't want to talk it out, and this is a good way to like refocus, just pull you out of that spot for the moment.
Another good grounding technique is to use an anchoring phrase. This might be something like, I'm Angie. I'm 41 years old. I live in Detroit, Michigan. Today is Friday, June 3rd. It's 10:04 in the morning. I'm sitting at my desk at work. There is no one else in the room. And that really anchors you and grounds you
Hmm.
to where you are, what's going on, what day it is, just, you know,
Causes
kind
you
of
to
getting yourself
focus.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, center
And
yourself.
another thing of coming back to mindfulness,
Hmm.
coming back to the present.
Which is really what all of these kind of sound like they're trying to help you do,
Right.
just in different ways. Because if one way doesn't work for you, you can always try one of the other ways. I'm sure it's different for every person what will work for them. So, and maybe even different in the situation.
It definitely is. I know it is for me. It kind of just matters what's going on with me.
Yeah, and it sounds like you could add to this, like, you could say it's raining or it's snowing, or I can see the sun. I'm thirsty, so I'm going to get something to drink. Like, it sounds like all the senses could also be involved in this anchoring phrase.
Yes, it does. It would they it's good to keep adding if you still feel anxious so that
Hmm.
you can keep calming down.
One of the things that I learned to do is to imagine leaving the painful feelings behind. So, like, picture yourself gathering all your emotions, balling them up, and putting them in a box. Or I'm sure you've heard the one where, you write a little note and you burn it, or you put it in a balloon, imaginary balloon, and watch it fly away. Um, or maybe running or walking away from your painful feelings, or imagining your thoughts as a song or a TV show that you don't like, and then changing the channel or turning down the volume. So the feelings are still there, but you don't have to listen to them at that time. You can put them away. You can imagine yourself watching them go away.
Right. And those are really good ideas. I wanted to tell you a funny story. Well, not really
Hmm.
too funny, but I told my therapist that I wrote down all the names of the people that I was angry with and I burned them. And she was like, "Oh my God, that's a fire hazard." I'm like, "I did it outside."
Okay, so
Don't
when you
tell your
when you
therapist.
do when you do that one, make sure that you're in a safe place. because we don't want any fire hazards. That would cause a whole new painful memory. So
Right.
oh my goodness. Another thing that I think is really important is to be kind to yourself. So you need to practice self-kindness. This is another one you do have to practice. Repeat kind, compassionate phrases to yourself. I've always been like my worst critic. So say good things to yourself, like you're having a rough time, but you'll make it through, or you're strong and you can move past this pain, or you're trying so hard and you're doing your best. Instead of all those negative things that you tend to like think about, say it either out loud or in your head as many times as you need to say it. Think about all those great things you say to your friends, but you don't tend to say to yourself.
Yeah, why do we do that?
Right? All
We
the
wouldn't
time.
talk to our friends like we talk to ourselves.
Exactly.
And we're supposed to be, our best friend. So
Right, exactly. So you want to definitely practice that self-kindness. And again, it is a practice. You can work and get better at it. But it's worth it. You have to be your own best friend.
another idea is to plan an activity. This might be something you do alone or with a friend or a loved one. Think of what you'll do and when. Maybe you'll go to dinner, take a walk on the beach, see a movie you've been looking forward to, or visit a museum. Focus on the details, such as what you'll wear, where you'll go, how you'll get there, what you'll see when you're there. You know, just
I actually
what
bought
a
a
good time you're
notebook.
gonna have.
I actually bought a notebook so that I could put down all the little places I wanted to go that were local within driving distance. And all the things that you can do there, and all the places that you can go to eat, or all the places that you can go to get, ice cream or a dessert or something special, all the little, landmarks, and put pictures in there. And sometimes, like when I'm feeling down, I will go into my notebook and I will add stuff to it because it does uplift me. And then we end up doing stuff because I don't know if you're like me, like I'll plan to do a whole lot of stuff and then I'll forget about it and I won't do any of it. So a notebook is a great idea. Like a travel notebook is what I call it, a travel journal. So yeah, I like that idea a lot. You can also listen to music. I think a lot of people can resonate with that because music is definitely a mood booster. It can also make you sad. So
I was about to say, I just went through something and I had to stop listening to music because it was making me cry so much. But it does, yeah.
I've been through that too, where I've had to put music away for quite a while because it was very triggering to me, but a certain type of music was triggering to me in a bad way. So, it can do both, but a lot of people, if they put on their favorite song, they focus on the melody and the lyrics, it can give them a lift. Sometimes sad songs make people feel better, because it's like somebody understands what I'm going through.
Right.
And just focus on the song. Does it give you goosebumps, when you hear it, or does it create any other physical sensations? Do you feel, joy in your heart? And just pay attention to that and what stands out most to you. Sometimes that can really help. So Angie, what is the mantra for this week?
I am grounded. My spirit is grounded deep in the earth. I am calm, strong, centered, and peaceful. I am able to let go of fear and trust that I am eternally safe. I am worthy of all things beautiful.
I love that mantra, and it actually reminds me of earthing, which is not the same as grounding, but a lot of people think of that when they hear the term grounding. So maybe we'll have to talk about that in another podcast.
Definitely.
But I hope you all found this episode really helpful. Listen to it again, take time to sit down and listen to it. Maybe that might be one of your grounding techniques until you learn some of these skills a little bit more. And if you found it useful, please share it with a friend, subscribe. We love your feedback, so please reach out to us. You'll get all of our social media information in just a moment. Please join us next week where Season 1, Jonathan Traylor is going to come back. He is the kidney guru, and he's doing amazing things to create kidney awareness.
Yes, he is.
And
he's such a great guy too.
He is. We had such a great time with him in season 1, and I know he has more to tell us. He's going to talk about some of the people that he's had on his own podcast, and just let us know what's been going on. So I can't wait for that, and I hope you'll all tune in. Please remember until then that we are always stronger together.
Mask up. Peace out, y'all.
Unified Through Chronic and Mental Illness can be found at anchor.fm/unified. There you can find all social media links as well as other ways to listen.